Why is boundary so important for us in our career and life? And how is setting a healthy boundary going to help you not only for a happier career and life, but also help you to succeed? That's what we're going to share in this video. So recently, I have been sharing quite a few topics on boundaries and values in my Facebook group. Now, if you haven't joined, please do join our Facebook group where I am sharing more on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and interacting with you more for more fun and joy. Join our community. The way to join is down below and also at the end of our video. Right, so it goes back to this topic because I am having more of this I'm having more benefit of setting boundaries, sticking to boundaries, and learning more about that as well from my client as well. That's why I want to share about this topic today, which is how is setting loving boundaries is going to help you to have a happier career and more successful in your career as well. Let's start with what is boundaries anyways. Well, by the name as it sounds, it's where, I love this saying, it's where yourself ends and where everybody else starts. It's easier to look at boundaries on a bigger scale, I suppose. Look at countries. When you say boundaries, it's where this country ends and where the next country starts, right? And that applies to companies or to teams, to our departments, to everything. When there are a set of rules, when there are a set of a boundary or line, that is what is for. And it's same principle applies to our personal boundaries. So note I'm saying personal, it is your personal, it's yours. That's something that it's a fun process to find out as well. So what does boundary do on a personal level? That's where, again, how you and everyone else starts. And that is how you communicate with others, where you would stop, where you would start to contract or sometimes to expand. And boundaries is how you teach others to love you. You teach others how they can treat you, how it's better to make you happy, how to talk to you, how to work with you, how to collaborate with you, at what time is the best. All those stuff all together, it's your boundaries. So it's easier to understand, like I said, when it's a bigger country or it's a company and it's a firm, and that's where we're going to start. So the first point that I'm going to share today is defining boundaries, finding your limits, finding out where is that boundary, right? And how we're going to do that? It's personal. It's a process of you finding out where your limits are, where your buttons are, what are the things that's going to make you not so comfortable. So several emotions that you probably want to pay attention to when you're dealing with different people, in different situations, in different projects, at different time, in different circumstances, and in personal actions. And if you experience below feelings like discomfort, guilt, anger, stress, anxiety, this is just not feeling comfortable, not relaxed. Those are all signs that is probably touching your boundaries. It's probably something that's not making you comfortable. And then you get to decide whether it's going to be your boundary or not. I'll give you one example that recently came up a lot. Two clients actually had a similar problem. So one client, she was just getting promoted and now she's working with her subordinates. First time being a manager, so she's very patient and trying to be very kind, too kind probably. And her subordinates comes to her every hour asking questions, and some of the questions are really repetitive. And she recognized that it's her subordinates. It's not that she didn't really understand, given that she already gave her the answer, but it's she needed support in that moment when she's going to make the decision or when she's going to push that button. So she needed support constantly, every hour. However, in the result of it is my friend is getting drained and her work is getting disrupted at the same time. And this, again, always reflect on multiple levels. At the same time, because she's always too kind and trying to help the whole team, her boss was giving her extra work. So now she has extra workload because she is willing to help, with her subordinates constantly bombarding her with questions on an hourly basis. What do you think is going to happen? So this is what happened. In the short term, she's working under stress. She can finish the work, but she just feels so tired. In the long term, what happened? Without boundary, without telling the other person, you can only come at certain times, or there's only limited of times that I can help you. So eventually, burnout. left the company. What she did in between is she tried to communicate with her subordinates that we can only talk once a day, stuff like that. But she still comes back. This is another point that I will touch later as well. Expect pushback when you set boundaries. But anyhow, so this is an ultimate scenario, I guess, eventually. So I will share one of the sentences I really love from Brené Brown to better illustrate this example. She said, "Daring to set boundaries, it's about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. We can't base our own worthiness on others' approval. Only when we believe deep down that we are enough can we say enough." Now, she is risking that she didn't say when she's unpleasant, when she's stressed, when she cannot take it anymore. She didn't spell it out. She didn't say no. She didn't stop it. And because she thought it would disappoint others, or because it wasn't ingrained in her. She has never done that before, which is fine. But look at this. If she say that once, yes, she may disappoint in others on a smaller scale, but still they can collaborate with each other, still grind with each other. Eventually, they will be a good team. But if you didn't stick to your boundaries and accumulate to a point, eventually she left. And that's the ultimate disappointment, not just to her team, to her subordinates, but to herself as well. So this is the risk you're actually putting of not setting a boundary. All right, so that's the number one. Defining your boundaries, knowing where it should end. And a lot of the times we need boundary to prevent these things from happening, to protect ourselves in a good, easy, relaxed state, so we can better work, so we can better create, so we are in a bubble that's in the best performance state to contribute to your work, to contribute to your company and team. Now, point number 2 is clear and defined communication. All right. So I guess it's pretty enough, again, to start with your job jurisdiction, right? Starting with where does your job description ends. It's very easy, and this again could be a really good tips for my clients. Some of the confusions, disappointments, or frustrations of their work actually comes from no clear definition of their job description. If you just do that with a manager, a lot of the confusions will be cleared out. What do they include? What exactly are you expected to do on a weekly basis, monthly basis? What are the tasks? How do you measure them? By what time should we measure them? Should we sit down for feedback? How are we going to make sure it's improving? All of those things, if you just clarify with your manager, a lot of the confusions and arguments or disappointment will be avoided. Anyway, let's go back to that. So list a clear list of things for yourself, personal boundaries that you will stick to, and have clear communication. So one of the videos that I shared in Facebook is about working, about having meeting at work or having communication at work. We all know that when we try to focus on a task that you need to think, you need to be with yourself, and other people constantly bombarding you with communication is going to disrupt you. And what I experienced personally with my personal assistants is even though I set a boundary to myself saying after 8 o'clock in the evening, I am not going to work, but sometimes I do want to get the task out of the way. So when my assistant comes to me, I do work, and it just turned into a pattern that I work overtime at night, and I will have stress and I will be unhappy, and that's where it needs to stop. That's right, where you need to have very clear time and communications with work. How we're gonna do it, by what time we're gonna do it. We can have communication, that's totally fine, but probably every day only from 3 to 4 in the afternoon is the time I will answer all inquiries. I will talk to you live, so we can have back and forth communication, and that's the only time that we can do it. Have clear and constructed communications. And again, this comes back to a lot of what we talked before. You know your value, you know what you can do, and you have the guts to say no. Go back to watch the video on how to say no. And a lot of times when you're saying no, you're helping people to to work with you next time. You can tell them, I'm saying no, I don't work at this hour because I'm working on another project which I need to focus on this and that is my priority. And people will know that next time they come to you, they will ask, what is your priority right now? Is it a good time to talk? Or they would directly come and talk to you at the time that you are available to talk. So avoided a lot of the confusions. So again, similar as boundary is similar to saying no. You are helping others to work you happier, to work with you in a happier way for the future. That's point number 2. And point number 3 on boundaries is boundary is there for a reason, right? And what I just briefly touched previously as well is you need to stick to your boundaries first thing first. And you set up that boundary for a reason, right? Probably so you don't overwork at night, probably so you can focus on some priorities in your work, probably you can have better communications, or whatever reason for that. You need to stick to it. If you told other people, I can't talk to you unless it's in the afternoon, and you started having conversations or communications with them in the morning, if they would come back to you and keep doing that at the time that you don't want to. So you need to stick to your boundary, the first thing first. And this is what I learned the hard way for my work. So it is there to help you, it is there to protect you, it is there to make you a better worker, to perform better, and you need to stick it to that first. But of course, all that the boundary is reasonable for you. Don't set unreasonable boundaries for yourself. And I will give you a simple 4 steps tips from a book by David Allen. He is a productivity expert and author of Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity, suggested sorting things, your to-do list, and addressing each task in one of the 4 ways. So these are the 4 ways that you can address things or deal with things when they come to your to-do list. First one is just do it, and second one is defer it. Third one is delegate it, and fourth one is drop it. And with your boundaries having clearly set, it will be so easy for you to categorize those. And then when you have a to-do list, do-it list, and then it will be easy for you to prioritize and really focus on the things that's make your career growing. That's where you're generating your key performances and having outstanding outcomes. All right, guys. Again, please join our Facebook group, leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.